Hi guys.
Hi.
Sorry, we're not gonna sit there.
Yeah, we do not want to be official. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's much more easier to speak when you stand.
It's a great pleasure. It's a great honor to be again here in Perugia, and we love this festival. We love that we can meet a lot of our friends here and get new ones. Probably this is the most weird presentation we are going to have in Perugia for like
years.
For years. And we understand how unexpected it is in the light of 2025, which is not the best year for the media industry in the world, probably. But we still think that it's somehow related, first. Second, we started this project actually 18 months ago.
18.
18.
Not 80. I'm not so old.
Not 80, yeah. This is an exhibition. And it will take place in Berlin. And we are going to tell you how we decided to actually organize it.
Yes. You know, last year we celebrated 10 years of Meduza. We started in 2014. And first of all, we decided it's no time to celebrate, but we want to mark these 10 years. We do not want to have fun because tragedy is around us. So first, what we did a timeline. Say, let's put the milestones on this timeline. What really important happened with us, with the world, with media industry. And when we draw it, we actually realized that it looks like this. Not less, not much.
Yeah, that's the journey, and we needed to start anywhere. We understood that, well, it's a decade, and a lot of stuff happened during this decade, and we want to say something about it. We want to reflect on that, and we want to say something about it. Okay, we said to each other, let's analyze our content, let's analyze our headlines throughout this decade. And what we wanted to achieve, we wanted to find the main concepts, the main words of this decade, the main topics.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Censorship was one of the hot topics of this decade. It is the first. It just happened because we are journalists and it matters for us. And it was the decade of censorship everywhere.
Yeah,
not
and
only in Russia.
we were born due to censorship. Meduza was born because our previous media outlet, Kremlin, was closed by Kremlin due to the censorship. And now censorship is all over the world. Inside Russia, they started with media and journalists. They wanted us to be silent. Now censorship is everywhere, not just in media.
And its civil brother, self-censorship as well. So we consider it as a big phenomena that shapes, unfortunately, journalism today.
Dictatorship. You know, guys, here are the example of dictators. But unfortunately, guys who is sitting to the left, he was the closest and for many years the only one friend of guy who is sitting to the right. But now, unfortunately, this guy on the right, he obtained many friends all over the world, and in Europe as well, and across the ocean as well. So dictatorship is everywhere as well, unfortunately.
And not only friends, but also fans. There are a
Fans.
lot of people nowadays that think that dictatorship or authoritarian leadership is much more effective than democracy.
Yeah, and those guys are great
Also
example.
our favs. These two particularly did a lot to make the polarization bigger phenomena than it was ever before. On the state level, on international level, on the level of tech companies, it was discussed a lot during this festival.
Yeah, you know, and inside Russia, polarization is one of the biggest problems because those who dare to think independently were declared enemies of state. Society is divided to the foreign agent and real patriots, and the world divided to the West and East, to Putin's friends and Putin's enemies. We are living now in a white and black world.
And divided societies, right.
Exile.
Yeah.
You know, Europe survived 2015 crisis with refugees, but now the war that was started by Russia just bring this problem to the whole, not to the whole Europe, but to the whole world. Hundreds of thousands Ukrainians were forced to leave their country in the threat of death. Thousands of Russians left the country. We have huge flows of refugees from Middle East, from Africa. So this is the world crisis.
And again,
and not many refugees are very welcome.
And very happy.
Speaking frankly.
And very happy to be refugees, actually. Media in exile also another big thing. And climate refugees is also a big thing that will affect the world in the nearest future. And of course, this word, this notion, this thing, this event, probably one of the most frequent again. And during the last decade, it affected a lot of people across the globe.
Yeah, and we know for sure that the war against Ukraine started in 2014. So this is 10 years of war. And now we see war. In Ukraine, we see war.
Everywhere.
In Syria, we see war. At Middle East, yeah?
Yeah. So every year brings us a lot of different wars, and these are only we cover these wars, but there are many wars we are not covering.
And
so, besides the concepts, besides the major events, we kind of felt. While we analyzed our headlines and our content, that there are two feelings that are so popular among people all over the world.
So common.
And these are the feelings of loneliness and exile.
Fear.
And fear, господи. And fear.
Loneliness and fear.
Loneliness in all senses. And we are talking about patients that died during the COVID pandemic. We are talking about LGBTQ people who were forced back, were forced
to the middle of 20th century, when they were repressed and they were humiliated.
We are talking about people who keep resisting and keep saying no, keep disagree in the circumstances when there is no hope. There is no hope for change. And the fear, probably right now we live in the world in the age of uncertainty. We all have fears about our physical safety, about our cyber safety, but we also have fear about the future of the world per se.
Yeah. So we decided to name our exhibition No. We dedicated this exhibition to those who dare to say no, who dare to disagree with these topics. So, and we want to say no to censorship, to dictatorship, to polarization, to loneliness, and to fear. We just do not want to feel this. And yesterday we talked with our colleague, and he said, okay, we will fight to the end. We dare to say no.
This is the end of the philosophical part.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying with us up until here. Now the practical stuff. So we were thinking when it was a year before our 10-year anniversary, really weird jubilee, in really unpleasant circumstances, we thought, well, we tried everything actually in storytelling. You know that Meduza is a very inventive media organization, and we always mixed traditional hardcore journalism with new formats, and we really, during this decade, we really tried everything. So this is how we came up with the idea of the exhibition, because we actually love art.
Yes.
And the exhibition allows you to try new way of storytelling using the art.
Yeah, and you know, usually journalists write about art. We have cultural critics, we have cultural journalists. Now, and we decided to turn the table. We asked artists to explore, to rethink those topics, usually are written by journalists. Please explore and express your feelings and your thoughts through art. Not journalists about artists, but artists about topics that are very important to journalists.
So we invited journalists from several countries.
Artists.
Journalists. Sorry.
Artists.
I need to sleep more, and all of us. So we invited several artists, 13 in the end, from different places in the world to think about these notions that we've got through analyzing our headlines. And now I'm going to do something that normally people don't do before the exhibition, but I'm going to show you some parts of the exhibition because we are in a very special position. So this is, and I start with Russian artist, of course. This is Pavel Adelnev. He's quite famous painter from Russia, and this is his new series, and this is about ABC books from our childhood. You know that in ABC book, in alphabet book, they usually use something simple and nice to illustrate letters, like sun for S, moon for M, etc. And Pavel, he took the letters, but he used these delusional, surrealistic images, the ones that he think actually very important for Russian collective consciousness. For example, the black hole, it is actually the abyss. And Pavel thinks that the abyss is one of the most important concepts for Russians nowadays. This one over there is убежище, which means shelter. And Pavel remembers about his childhood and the way everybody discussed the possibility of the nuclear war. Unfortunately, it is again the same. And of course, Lenin. You can see small kids and Lenin. And this is probably a painting about the way people accept the totalitarianism without any critical thinking.
Yeah.
This is Gülsün Kara Mustafa. Maybe some of you heard of her.
She's one of the very famous Turkish artists.
And,
Very prominent.
And she was a political prisoner in the beginning of 1970s, and this is not the most recent work, but she was very kind to provide it to our exhibition. You know, there is a tradition in Turkey and in many other countries.
And in Russia, unfortunately, last year.
Especially, to wear uniforms, to wear military clothes on kids. In Russia, it happens every year on the Victory Day. Maybe you saw these pictures with small kids that wear in uniforms. But also, it is a tradition in Turkey, and it was already a tradition in 1990s. In Turkey, particularly, it is connected with the war at Cyprus. In many other places, it's connected with some other wars. But basically, this work is about the fuel for the war, and these are children.
Yeah.
This is another famous artist. This is Pilvi Takala. She's from Finland, and this is her practice work and video. The name "Feeling Defensive" is kind of a pun. Because because Pilvi participated in this interesting event. Every year, Finnish defense forces organize an event for civilians to actually
it's some kind of war training.
To explain them how Finland will react on the crisis, and the crisis means the war, and the war in Finland means the war
with Russia.
So this is a month of trainings, of lectures, and it's really hard to believe that Finland actually promotes militarism somehow through these courses, and she participated in that, and she made a film about that. This is Russian artist and sculptor Sergei Prokofiev. He works with 3D pen, and this is a very important work because it depicts airport in Donetsk that was ruined because of Russians and by Russians. And for us, it is again, it is a reminder that the war started many years ago.
And our favorite one.
This is Spanish artist Fernando Sanchez Castillo, and he loves to work with he actually is a sculptor, and this is a sculpture. This is the monument that can't be done, can't be made in Russia, in contemporary Russia, of course. This is the most the biggest Putin's enemy of all times, Alexei Navalny, who was murdered in prison last year. And this is actually a small figure, like that.
10 centimeters.
Yeah, and it's made of plastic, and it reminds us about toys, and military toys as well, unfortunately. And but it's gonna be like several thousands of it.
We ordered several thousands, and it's the very famous gesture from prison cell. Navalny shows us heart when he hadn't listening for his sentence. So, and Fernando made thousands of these figures, and those of you who came to the exhibition, you can took this monument to Navalny with you, but in exchange of written note. You have to write something. For example, his favorite phrase, "Love is stronger than death."
Right. By the way, you can get one, Navalny. You can take it one with you in exchange for some.
Sorry. Usually I interrupted him. Yeah,
this is a very important artist for us. It's a photo reporter, and now actually a big artist. His name is Alexander Gronsky, and this is the guy who deliberately decided to stay in Russia after the beginning of the invasion, and he documents the this weird war reality.
Yeah, and he's insanely brave, because many of artists, many of journalists working for us on anonymous conditions, and Gronsky said, I don't give it. Yes, please, I want to say no to the war.
He calls himself the last guy in the store. So someone has to stay, and he works openly under his name, and he collaborates with us and many other independent organizations. So there is a series. It's going to be a big series at the exhibition of
Moscow during the war.
And other Russian cities. So, you know, it may remind of some Dutch paintings to someone. Yeah, but it's beautiful and scary and very real.
Yeah, and it's about loneliness of honest men inside the aggressive country. So
from one side, we have artists. From the other side, this is not the end. Like, we have this other part of the exhibition, and it's the documentary part of the exhibition, because we want to look at our journey as well. We were lucky, or not very lucky, to witness a lot of historical events, and you as journalists too. And we have in our code, it is written that we must try as much as possible not to be the characters of the news, but to cover the news. But of course, journalists were the characters of the news for many years. Yes, we are professional witnesses, but also we are unwitting participants of these events.
Yes. Yeah, and there are a few things. You know, first, actually, me and Ivan, we hate this genre. Journalists interviews journalists, talking with journalists. Second, we want to be a little bit distant from our journalists. So we invited the very famous Russian playwright Mikhail Durnenkov. He is one of the prominent directors and playwrights with the documentary theater. And he shooted the interviews with our journalists who had been working on the war field, who reported from Russia, and all these things. Yeah. So, you can see some of our narrators. It's very famous Russian movie critic Anton Dolin. It's our head of technical department, Alex. Many of you knows him, but he's working on, and he's here on anonymous conditions. And you see our reporters. You know, I said it many times, but reporting from Ukraine was made by female journalists, because Russian male journalists are banned to enter Ukraine. So we see this war through women's eyes. And these are three of our reporters who had been reporting from Ukraine all these years. And you can see one more, Svetlana Reiter. She is investigative reporter, and she wrote about how top managers of big companies and how other very important figures inside Russia bend the knee on dictatorship. Yep.
What we've got eventually, we think that the exhibition is not trying to worship journalists. it provides probably some other perspective on us, on ourselves, and on our profession. You know, there are two stereotypical reactions on journalism everywhere. There is a group of people who thinks that the journalists are heroes. They are fighting against atrocities. They don't need food. They don't need sleep. I need to sleep. They don't need to eat. They don't need salaries. They just fighting for us, for all of us.
It's not true.
This is a popular stereotype. The other popular stereotype is that journalists are paparazzi and they
dirty jerks.
They don't care about anyone but themselves and their stories, and they only want to make something sensational, etc. And these two stereotypes are extremely popular among everybody, among intellectuals and among
ordinary
people.
readers.
Yeah, and of course there are people like that in our profession. We all know that, but we think that the majority of people are just ordinary people, just usual people that unfortunately
found themselves in extraordinary situations.
Yeah, just like many people in this decade. And the only thing we are trying to achieve is to be decent people, to be okay with ourselves. So this is the story behind the exhibition. And as a postscriptum, few things about the motivation to do this event. Well, we think that the journalism is in a very bad shape at the moment. The crisis of trust is enormous. And journalists specifically targeted by the authorities, by the politicians everywhere. And we need to do everything to attract as much attention to the journalism as possible. And also, we are looking for some new ways to bypass the news avoidance, which is probably even the bigger problem than the censorship, in a way. So, okay, if the exhibition helps, it's good. If it won't help, okay, that's fine. That's also fine. At least we tried. And we keep doing our crowdfunding campaign because we need money. Yes, we want to use this event to attract as much attention as possible to Meduza as well, because we are at the in the critical situation.
Yeah, and it's a chance to continue our job. And it's important because approximately we calculated our audience. It's more than 10 million people inside Russia. So it's very important for us to get the chance to continue our job.
Thank you. Come visit us.
It will be 8 weeks. Please set the date. 8 weeks. You please find the moment to visit it. It's worth it.
Thank you. Do we have time for questions, or we need to?
Or it seems to me that it's
no.
no.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's say no.
Bye.